What's up, tribe? How you guys doing? Go ahead and hit that subscribe button. I hope you like this video. This is going to be your review for Power Book 2, Season 2, Episode 3. I think we're on. Listen. Just found out that the show's been renewed for Season 4. For Season 3. But let's go ahead and get into it. I want to get into it. So we start this episode off with Tariq rolling up on Tate at his brother's promotion ceremony. It's a room full of cops, and he rolls up in there like he has every right to be there. Now we find out that his brother is being promoted to the DA as an investigator in the DA's office. I feel like that's going to be important later. I feel like we need to know that. Put that in your back pocket, okay? Then we find out that so of course Tate's like, yo, what are you doing here? Like this, like you in the middle of some situation I don't have to do with you. What are you doing here? And he was like, I need your help. Like my sister, she's in social services. You said you was going to help. I need that help like yesterday. And he was like, well, listen, before we get into that, like, quid pro quo, bro. Like, what you gonna do for me? And Tariq was like, what you want? And he said, well, you told me that you knew, the Westons down to the school. How well do you know them? And Tariq was like, it's my roommate. What you need? He said, oh, well, I definitely gonna need, that introduction. And, he said, I need some dirt on that senator. And of course, Tariq didn't like the senator because the senator put him on the spot down to the hunting trip. So Tariq was like, all right, whatever you need, because I don't even like that dude anyway. He said, but I need this help like today with my sister. And so he was like, I got you, no problem. As long as you give me your word, I'm gonna give you that. I'm gonna believe you, and then we're gonna move forward. And so Tariq was like, yo, my word is good. Like, my word is good. So he gets that. Then we go over to Mecca's house. We find out, no, was this before we went to Mecca? It don't matter, child. We went to Mecca's house, and Mecca's having a whole party for it. Looks like, I guess, his cousin, his nephew, somebody, and they're having a whole blowout event. Now, couple of things we figure out in this little scene. One, this cook that the Asian cook that was in the last scene when he broke Guap's hand, he knows some things. Like, he knows Mecca, who was AKA, what's his name? Darian something. We saw his real name, Darian something. Child don't matter. He Mecca. But we found out that because when nephew was talking to Kane, because Kane is at the party, well, how you know him? And he was like, oh, I met him through my boy Guap. He was like, oh, for real? He was like, yeah, he said something about the father knew each other, something like that. And he was like, oh, for real? Yeah, because, something about him being in Kuwait. And before he could finish saying that he had been in Kuwait, the chef, the cook, he cut him off and was like, yo, girls, come over here. Because, of course, they got the naked girls all at the party or whatever. So, of course, now they're being preoccupied for the girls, and the conversation then went left. At least so he thought. They sitting on the couch with the girls giving them lap dances and shots and stuff, and he starts asking him about well, how, they bring up the conversation about Mecca again. And he was like, yo, Mecca, you want in on this? Talking about with the girls or whatever. And Mecca was like, nah, Mecca don't want none of that. He was like, he ain't been right since we got to New York. And he was like, oh, for real? Why? He said, because he got a hard on for some bitch. And before he could finish his sentence, here come Mecca. Mecca strangled him until he passed out. Talking about, don't you know the difference between family business and my business, okay? Don't be telling him all my business. He don't know nothing about us, and he don't need to know nothing about us. So I was out of order. Next, before the party down to the house, we saw where Monet met up with Tariq and met up with Kane. And she told them, listen, we are back in business. Kane got us a new connect. So whatever beef y'all got, y'all need to squash. Because ain't nobody got time for all of that. Find out that Monet got to pay for the drugs up front because, he was like, listen, new connect, new rules. Like, he don't know y'all like that. Ain't nothing on credit. Like, he need the money. And she just happened to have a money roll in her hand to give him to pay for this old shipment that they got. Right? Okay. So then, we see that the police officer down to the station, of course, he's got Zeke And he's got Zeke's phone, and of course, Carrie keeps calling Zeke. Why is Carrie calling Zeke? I don't know. Because Carrie and Zeke agreed to end the situation. At least I thought they had agreed to end the situation. So, Carrie, why are you calling that boy? See, that's your problem now, Carrie. That's your problem now. But anyway, so of course, he got Zeke all hemmed up, and he starts talking to Zeke. Now, Zeke, in that moment, here's the thing. Later on in the episode, they're going to give Zeke a pass and make it seem like, oh, Zeke don't know no better, and Monet is keeping Zeke out of the loop, and Zeke don't understand our business and understand the rules. Let me explain something to y'all. Zeke, you've been in it and around it long enough to know that the police pick you up for, I don't give a fuck if it's for jaywalking. You don't say nothing. They wouldn't let him call, because he did ask to call his aunt. He did say, you know, maybe I need a phone call or whatever, but it doesn't matter. When they kept telling you that you were there voluntarily and they just needed you to answer some questions, you know well enough to know. First of all, even if this didn't have nothing to do with Carrie and Jabari, you know what your family does. Like, you're not that naive. You're not that stupid. You know what your family does. Ain't no way in hell you're supposed to be there all night saying nothing to them. You're supposed to sit there quietly until they allowed you to call somebody. Now, with that being said, they kept his ass there all night. Okay, they kept him there all damn night, and basically he could, you know, he never admitted that him and Carrie had an affair, but he looked guilty as hell. So honestly, he might as well admitted the shit. But the police detective let it be known that he feels like Carrie killed Jabari and that he was in on it. He helped Carrie do it. So of course now Zeke is really nervous as hell and scared as hell, and they still won't let him call Monet, and they still won't let him do nothing. Okay. In an act of desperation, he pulls out the PBA card from detective that is dead, okay? Which, of course, added a whole nother layer of shit. Because they already think that the murder or his disappearance is connected to Monet. Now, while this is going on, of course, Kane is threatening, what's the boy name? Tariq again. And I'm like, again, I don't understand, Kane, you kill for a living. Like, you killed a whole cop, but you are so worried about this murder blowing back on you of the professor. I'm so confused why out of all the people in your lifetime that you have killed, that's the murder you're worried about. Somebody in the comments help me figure that part out, because I'm confused. I don't know. You killed a cop, and you are not as worried about that cop blowing back on you as you are on a professor from the college. So confused right now. Anyway, Tate is true to his word, and he gets Tariq a meeting with social services to talk about his sister. And the lady from social services already got an attitude. I feel like she don't like Tate, but she doing a favor for whatever reason, because she already had an attitude with Tariq, and she felt some kind of way about the fact that he was able to pull some strings and be able to get the meeting about his sister. And Tariq was like, listen, at the end of the day, I'm 18. Like, I need my sister to come and live with me. Like, she shouldn't be punished because my grandmama is tripping. Like, I'll get an apartment. I'll pay the bills. Like, what do I need to do? And she was like, listen, yeah, you're old enough to really get custody of your sister, but there's some things you're going to have to do before you get custody. And one of those things you're going to have to do before you get custody is you have to show income. You're going to have to show some steady income, that you get a paycheck, that you can sustain her and take care of her. Well, of course, he can't say I'm a drug dealer. So he ends up calling Stern's right-hand, husband, and tells him that he needs them to figure out a way to give him a legit paycheck. Which, of course, the husband says, okay, I can make that happen, but that's gonna cost you 30 bands. I'm like, Tariq was like, 30,000, god darn. He was like, listen, if you wanted to look legit and you wanted to be what it is, that's what I'm gonna need you to do. He was like, and I'm gonna need you to find somebody that can be the president of this company to sign for the articles of incorporation. So of all the people that Tariq could choose to do that, who y'all think he chose? Who? Yeah, that's right. He chose his roommate. So his roommate is now technically his boss. And we're going to get into that in a minute, because that becomes a whole nother situation. Okay. We will get back to that. Of course, they have to give us the obligatory classroom scene with them debating about morals and the way of life that they always give a child. So in class, they are debating about virtue and what's for the greater good, and are you willing to sacrifice your virtue for the greater good, and all that. Listen, again, we know that this conversation is always connected to whatever the hell it is that Tariq is dealing with in the episode, okay? And Lauren gets stuck, and Tariq comes to her rescue, so of course she forgives him for leaving her on that damn rooftop last week and taking the phone call and all that good stuff. So after class, she tries to talk to Tariq, and he apologizes, and he's like, listen, I told you I got a lot going on. I'm so sorry that I have not been there for you. Like, I need to be there for you. But once again, he gets a phone call, and he leaves her hanging again. Okay. Now, with all of that that's going on, Kane then passed out down to Mecca's house, and so he wakes up the next day, and him and Mecca have a whole conversation, a whole heart-to-heart or whatever, and Mecca wants to find out who this kid is that Kanan don't get along with. And I found it interesting that Kanan was actually, I feel like, was trying to protect Tariq and didn't really want to give Mecca Tariq's name. I feel like that could be a little interesting. But Mecca was like, so you don't trust me? Like, I done had you in my house. I done had you around my family. Like, you done met all my people, but you don't trust me enough with this number. I mean, with the name of the dude that you claim you don't even fuck with like that. That's what we doing now? All right, that's cool. You don't trust me? That's cool. But, of course, he ends up giving him Tariq's name, right? He ends up giving him Tariq's name. So, later on in the day, Kane meets up with Tariq and White Boy to make the exchange to get the weight or whatever. And Mecca is watching the whole thing. Mecca's peeping the whole transaction, right? So Mecca comes back to Kane and later on and say, listen, the roommate is your way in. Like, him and Tariq are friends. Like, that's probably the only friend Tariq really has. So if you want to control Tariq and you want to get in, you need to go through the roommate. Like, that's your way in. If you can get him on your side, you can manipulate him, you can get in his head and get him to turn against Tariq, or at least question what's going on with Tariq. That's how you going to get in. That's how you going to get what you need to get. And so later on in the episode, we see Kane messing with, we see Kane kind of fucking with the boy, and kind of messing with his head a little bit, and he actually ends up trying to convince him to hang out with him. The money came up a little shorter than what Tariq needed in order to, pay the $30 to get the articles of incorporation. But Kane promised, listen, I can go ahead, I'll flip some of this for you, I'll get you the weight you need, I'll get you the missing money you need. So he's getting his trust because he did what he said he was going to do. He was able to flip it, give him the money, so that Tariq had the $30,000 that he needed in order to get this legit paycheck to try to get custody of his sister, right? All this shit is connected and it's crazy. Somehow or another, up on that rooftop in a matter of, I guess, 24 hours, White Boy has managed to knock out a whole piece of the wall, put in a high-tech safe that is opened up by a QR scan off your phone, and he has set up a whole damn network at the college where people can use their phone to open up the safe that's inside of the brick wall, drop off the drugs and take the money. Drop off the money and take the drugs. I'm like, how long did it take y'all to set this up? Because I feel like that was real complicated for y'all to have done in like a week. I don't know. I guess where there's a will, there's a way. When you are determined, like, ain't nobody see y'all taking tools up to this rooftop. Ain't nobody hear nobody banging. Anyway, it is what it is, child. It's a lot. It is what it is. Monet is once again being Monet, child. Monet is in her feelings, and she don't want to go see her husband. So she sends Diana down there to go see the husband because Diana is still in her feelings that Kanan has been welcomed back into the family with open arms. She's not understanding why all of this is going on. Why are we letting him back in the family? He did something. He betrayed us. He put his hands on mama. Like, what? The business is bigger than family? So she goes to visit her daddy, and her daddy was like basically telling her, listen, girl, I need you to trust me. I need you to let it go. I need you to accept Kanan back and know that it is for the greater good. Do you trust me? Do you love me? I was like, okay, y'all gonna find out. Kanan ain't as much there for the greater good as we think he is. Tate is still trying to push up on Carrie, child, and trying to flirt with Carrie. and he happens to be, he's got Jabari's old office, and remember, they could hear through that wall. So the police detective comes to visit Carrie, and while the two of them are arguing, Tate is listening from the other side of the wall, and the police detective tells Carrie, listen, I know you killed Jabari. I know Zeke was a part of it, and I'm going to be able to prove it. You just sit back and you wait. I'm going to prove it. Now, while all of this is going on, Monet rolled up on Mecca and told him, listen, whatever game you playing, I'm going to need you to chill out. I'm going to need you to back up. We're not in high school no more. I don't live in my mama's house. You're not turning over the trash can at my parents' house. And I'm going to need you to stay in your lane. I'm a married woman. She didn't say happily married, but I'm a married woman. And I'm going to need you to chill out. Now, what was funny was while all of this was going on, he had rented out the whole restaurant. He had the chef prepare them a meal. He got the people pouring them champagne. And Mary is sitting there like, I don't know what game you playing, but I'm a little impressed. I mean, she didn't say that, but that's what her body language was saying. And somehow another child, he done convinced her to go up on a helicopter tour of the city. And they get to kissing and hugging and kissing up in that helicopter. Now, while this is going on, Zeke is trying to call her. Okay? Zeke is trying to call her. Now, what Mecca had told Mary was that he knew that he really wants shit and that he didn't want to bring himself back into her life until he got himself together, because that is what she deserved. She didn't deserve anything less than his best, and that is why he been gone for as long as he been gone. And I was like, this is actually working on her, okay? Because like I said, they was up in that helicopter kissing and hugging and kissing, and she was missing the phone call from Zeke down to the police station saying, please come get me auntie because I am scared, okay? Now, Lauren, like I said, Lauren is hung up on Tariq. And then, her girlfriends are trying to tell her, let that boy go. He is not thinking about you like that. It is what it is. Diana was up on the rooftop with Tariq. Lauren rose up, and Lauren was like, I know you didn't bring her up here. I know you didn't bring her up here. I showed you my special place, and you done brought your hoe up here. And Tariq was like, listen, it is not like that. I need you to understand it's not like that. He said, listen. While he's talking to Lauren, he gets a phone call from Tate letting him know where his sister is and that he set up a meeting that he could go and see his sister. So Tariq tells Lauren, listen, it's not what you think it is. I've been dealing with a lot. Matter of fact, go with me. Go with me so you can see what I've been dealing with. I need you to go where I'm going, so I need you to see what I've been dealing with. And Lauren was like, whatever, Tariq. But then when she get there and she realizes what's going on, that Tariq's sister's in social services and he been trying to get her back, that she understands, and now she feels special. Like, oh my goodness, you shared this moment with me. You opened up your world to me. And of course, the little girl was like, are you Tariq's girlfriend? She gonna look at Tariq talking about something. I don't know. You tell me. Am I your girlfriend? No, you're not his girlfriend. This boy won't even have a whole conversation with you without picking up his phone and running off. No, you are not his girlfriend, okay? But it don't stop her from taking him back to the dorm room and giving him a little piece of her love. And of course, they get done and they're basking in the afterglow. And he gets the phone call. The girl that was with Zeke when he got picked up by the police is a friend of theirs. And she let the damn video go viral of the police picking Zeke up. And of course, it's everywhere now because he did declare for the draft. Y'all know how that goes viral. Y'all know how that turns out. Tariq, now he's upset because he was like, he's the only reason why I'm here. Like, me staying here is connected to him getting good grades, and I need to make sure that his ass don't get in trouble. Now, here's what I don't understand, Tariq. This same boy ain't coming back to school next year. So, you weren't upset that he declared for the draft? Because what's going to happen next year when they don't need you no more? Like, if he gets arrested and for whatever reason gets kicked out of school, how is that any different than 3 or 4 months from now when he don't come back to school because he done left to go into the draft? Like, I'm not understanding if your reason for being upset is because you're saying that your connection to the school is contingent on him. He's leaving. I ain't see you getting mad when he declared for the draft. Anyway, child, moving on. So Monet gets the phone call too, and now she takes off to head down to the police station. Now Tariq calls Method Man because he's like, listen, I need your help. I need you to get down to the police station like ASAP. So just as Method Man shows up, Monet gets to the police station. And both of them, Monet is blowing that police station up. She cussing everybody out, telling them to get out of her way, leave her the hell alone. Her nephew is in there, and that she was like, unless he's being arrested, he's going with me. And he got a nerve to get an attitude with Monet, and Monet told him straight up, like, bro, let me tell you something. What you won't do, you gonna back up off me, and I'm gonna need you to get it together, and I'm gonna need you to put some respect on my name, okay? Then, as she's leaving, Davis rolls up, and Davis is like, this is my client. Mary J. Blige like, we don't need no attorney. Like, I don't know who sent you. I don't know who brought you here, but we don't need no attorney. He said, listen, I done ran all the way across town to get here. Let me explain something to you. What you're not going to do is take him out that front door because the press is already out there waiting for him. I'll deal with the press. You take him out the back door. We'll figure the rest out later. And she agrees. She understands. Like, she calms down enough to understand what he's saying. Now, while they're sitting there, and of course, Mary's asking him, Zeke, all these questions. What did you say? Why did they pick you up? What do you want to know? And he tells them that he gave them the card. He gave Ramirez the card. And of course, she's like, he gave them the police, Ramirez's card. And of course, she knows that this is going to be a whole problem. She calls Kane. They have a family meeting. And she's like, listen, now they're going to be able to connect. The cop that you killed was in Zeke's wallet, and they already trying to pin this damn murder of the damn professor down to the school on him. So, of course, Kanan rolls up on Tariq, and he knocks Tariq in the mouth talking about you said you had this whole thing covered. Now, the blowback is on my cousin, and we got a problem. And Tariq is trying to let him know, listen, I got it covered, okay? I'm going to need you to trust me. I need you to understand that I got the shit covered. Calm down. Now, I don't know how they feel like they got it covered, but Tariq tells them he got it covered, child. Now, while all of this is going on, Diana has got it in her head that she's going to try to get her daddy out of jail. Because I guess she figured, as long as Monet is in charge, I ain't going to be able to go to college. I ain't going to be able to live my life. But daddy understands me. So let me get my convicted kingpin of a daddy out of jail. She goes down to Davis with his file. Davis wants to take the case. Of course, Saxe is like, I ain't trying to do this. Like, nope. Like, I ain't trying to take this case. But while Saxe is sleeping with his girlfriend, he finds out that the prosecutor that was over Monet's husband's case, basically he got in trouble for falsifying information and for playing information, for falsifying evidence. So he tells Davis, wait a minute, we might be able to get him out of jail. I said, well, here it goes, right? And that is pretty much the episode. Y'all let me know what y'all think. It seems like it's all sort of kind of coming together. We'll see. I'm starting to see where this is going in certain areas. But y'all let me know what y'all think. Drop it in the comments. Peace.